Hello everyone, today I've got two reviews on two fragrances from Ikiryo. So I've decided to do the two together because they're fairly simple fragrances, so they're not going to take too long to explain. And I thought I would start with, now here's the thing, these are the two perfumes. I think they look quite similar, and my one criticism is they're quite difficult to read the writing to see which is which. So it's, I'll take my face out of the thing. Drifting is there. I find that the text gets lost in the imagery. So sometimes struggle to see which is which. Sometimes end up wearing the one I didn't mean to wear. But, you know, it's hardly, hashtag first world problems. So we'll start with this one, which is Drifting, and this is probably my favourite of the two. And we have no perfume on my skin, so I'm going to spray it on. Now I know these perfumes very well. I've now had them several months, and I've put a fair sized dent in them, if you can see how much I've used. There's a decent chunk gone from Drifting there, and it's a similar amount from the other fragrance as well. But we'll start with Drifting. Notes wise, I've got them listed, but I think I probably know them off the top of my head. There's lavender, Peru balsam, Teone, and white musk. I think that is it. Yeah, that is all of them, all of the notes. And the way I describe it, I would say it's a lavender fragrance for people who don't love lavender. When the perfumer Vincent was working on it, he decided to work with a material that he didn't usually work with, which is lavender. And I think that by doing so, what he's done is he has created this fragrance that is a lavender perfume. It's definitely got lavender in it, but he's done something magical with it so that the lavender's lost the edges to it that generally put me off lavender in fragrances. I just find it a little bit peppery and a little bit green and herbal for my taste. But in here, it is like he's polished the lavender and removed those facets from it. So you do have this purple floral, but it's very, very smooth, and it's lost the green and the sharp edges. When I was younger, when I was a child, I had a stone tumbling machine, and this machine replicates what the sea does to stones. And so over obviously many years, stones getting tumbled by the sea become very, very smooth and shiny and polished. This machine would replicate that. You had to be really patient because you had to put the stones in there with the water and leave it for weeks. What a waste of electricity that was. But it excited me. I love stones, and to have these polished stones at the end of it. And to me, this is what Vincent has done with the lavender. He's polished it, taken off all the rough edges, so you have this shiny, smooth lavender stone. And I also feel like there is a little bit of vanilla in here, just a tiny bit. It's not listed. Maybe it's the Peru balsam, which can be sweet, but it smells like a fluffy light vanilla mixed in with this really smooth lavender, and then the white musk. So lots of clean musk. Feels like clouds. Feels like candy floss. It doesn't smell like candy floss. There's none of that spun sugar exactly, but it just has this feeling of, maybe there even is a little element of sugar in here, you know. Yeah, do you know what? I think there is a touch of sugar in here. So imagine that you take this really smooth lavender and you add some sugar, powdered sugar, icing sugar we call it in the UK, icing sugar, and clean musks, fluffy, soft, clean musks, and you just put it in a candy floss machine. You have then a stick of purple lavender flavoured candy floss. It's not quite as sweet as that image would bring you to mind. So the sweetness is gentle, it's not as sweet as candy floss. But basically, I think what I'm trying to say here is called Drifting. It's perfectly named. It's the kind of fragrance I would choose to wear to bed so many times because it's so soft and fluffy and light, ethereal, whimsical, clean. There's nothing challenging. It's just this amazing cloud of slightly sweet, purple, fluffy musk. And I absolutely adore it. It's really approachable. It makes me feel clean. It makes me feel approachable. It's the kind of fragrance that I would wear if I was going to be around my nephew or my friend's smaller children. It's the kind of fragrance I would wear if I had to have a very delicate conversation with someone and I needed to be soft, kind and gentle. So all of those words, soothing, soft, kind, gentle, all of those words encompass what drifting is to me. In terms of projection, it projects fairly moderately for the first 2 or 3 hours, and then it's more of an intimate scent. I wouldn't call it a skin scent, but it's not a big projector, and it doesn't have the nature. This fragrance just wouldn't fit being beast mode. But it is very long lasting, 8, 10 plus hours, and you still be smelling it on your skin, and it is so, so lovely. I'm so happy to have this one in my collection. I adore it. I adore it, and sometimes I crave it. So we're going to move on then to Anwin, which is this one. So Anwin is this one here, and this one, this is, how do we describe? Okay, let's give you the notes. So we have passion flower, passion fruit, white chocolate, and I believe musk. And this one is, I'm going to spray this one on this wrist. This one feels more summery. Now I'm not 100% sure what. There's a cat in my garden, how dare it. I'm watching you. And Yellow would not be impressed. This one is fruity. To me it's more fruity than it is floral. But it also smells like there's coconut in there. So I did speak to Vincent. He says there's definitely no material in there that should smell like coconut. But it smells coconutty to me, and I'm not the only one. So it smells like a mixture of tropical fruits, and I'm thinking things like guava and mango, and obviously it's supposed to be passion fruit, but I'm not mega familiar with passion fruit, although inspired by this fragrance I did have a passion fruit gin in the pub a couple of months ago, and it's very nice, but I still don't think that qualifies me as an expert in passion fruit. So to me it's a mixture of those tropical fruits that are, you know, kind of, I don't know, more Caribbean, not necessarily like, there's no, I don't smell pineapple, I don't think. I mean, there could be, but not obviously. So it's some sort of like orangey coloured tropical fruits, the kind of thing you can get in drinks in the local corner shop. This is in the UK, obviously. A lot of the smaller local corner shops will have more of these different drinks that aren't, you don't see them advertised on the television. They're fairly cheap compared to Coca-Cola, for example, and they're usually guava flavoured, mango flavoured, passion fruit flavoured. It reminds me of those drinks, but as I say, I feel like there's some coconut in there, not really strong, but mixing in with those tropical fruits, and then this just general muskiness, clean muskiness, and then the chocolate note for me is light. It is a white chocolate. It reads almost like a milky yet powdery background scent of chocolate, so it is not really that obvious to my nose. I know other people, when they talk about this fragrance, they get much more of the chocolate. I find the fruit is the most strong aspect, this mixture of tropical fruits and coconut. Then there's this hint of chocolate, a little bit powdery, and this musky, clean muskiness. Again, that's a little bit powdery. When it comes to the passion flower, I have never smelt passion flower. I used to have passion flowers in my first house, and I remember trying to smell them and I couldn't pick much up from them. So maybe it was the variety that I had, or just it's in an English garden. Maybe they need a bit more sun. Who knows? I don't remember a smell of passion flower. And I don't find this that floral, because to me it's just a lot more fruity. Now this one gently changes. It doesn't go anywhere dramatic. It stays fairly similar. It's fairly the same, just gently. I think the fruits kind of mellow a little bit. The musk comes out more, and I find if I forget about it, I don't really notice much going on, and then sometimes I can smell my wrist hours and hours after putting it on, and I realise it smells like the most delectable white musky scent, similar to the musk in Drifting. You can see how it's still really shiny, so you can see that the oil content in here is high. Drifting, actually, that's Drifting on that wrist. You can see that's still shiny. So very high concentration of oils in these perfumes. And yeah, I don't really find this does that much more. There's not a lot to say about it. I think that there are pros and cons to mention with it, in that some people are going to say this smells a bit like a shampoo, and they're going to, or a shower gel, and it's going to feel a little basic. I personally just love the way it smells so much, but I do remember once, I'm not sure where I was smelling, I think I was smelling a shampoo, and it reminded me of Anwin. And yeah, I do think that, so if you were to blind buy Anwin, you might be disappointed that it actually smells a bit shampooey and not that much like a fine fragrance. But to me, because I love how it smells, I absolutely love it. But I just think that's something to bear in mind, that that you might associate it with cheaper products, basic sort of shampoos, or maybe Body Shop kind of products. And if that's the case, that might ruin it for you. For me, I just love it. It's completely different to what I normally wear. I don't have many fruity things at all. Everything I own is pretty much floral musk vanilla combination, and so this is very different for me, but I really love it. It's a fragrance that makes me think of summer. It's a fragrance I feel like wearing in summer. Probably more of a daytime fragrance than a nighttime perfume, because it is, you know, fruity and musky and not particularly heady or, you know, very strong nighttime kind of fragrance. Longevity is probably not quite as good as Drifting. I would say 6 to 8 hours. Projection, average, is not a beast. There's nothing annoying or obnoxious about it. I don't pick up in either of these perfumes any scratchy, dry, woody, amber type aroma chemicals that I don't get on with. Vincent is very open and honest about the fact that he prefers aroma chemicals to naturals because they're much easier to work with. So most of Vincent's fragrances are mostly synthetic or highly synthetic, and there's a few that have those aroma chemicals that I don't enjoy, but most of them don't. And say these will all certainly have the fruits will be synthetic, the musks will be synthetic, but that isn't something that concerns me. I like how they smell, and that's all that matters. If I had to choose one over the other, I would choose Drifting. To me, that's more versatile. That's the sort of fragrance I would reach for any season, definitely to wear to bed, but also daytime. Probably not going out nighttime perfume for me, but I really love how it smells, so it potentially could be. It would be an evening in, just chilling on my own for sure. So Drifting is more versatile for me, but I do really enjoy the summeriness of Anwin with that sort of powdery, musky, slightly sweet chocolatey, coconutty vibe that comes with it as well. It's delicious, but it still smells like a perfume, although, as I say, you might think it smells a bit shampooey when you smell it. And that is it. That's my reviews on Drifting and Anwin. Let me know if you've tried them. Let me know what you think of them. It would be useful for everyone else if they are considering buying one or the other. Always good to have as many opinions as possible. So do share those in the comments, and I will see you in another video. Bye.